Hey guys, welcome to the Sound Design channel. I'm Francois from Production Music Live. I have this little remake for Anyma Consciousness here with Ableton only. And the synth sounds are done with Wavetable. So you have a bunch of interesting sounds here. We are going to focus on the deep synth, and in another video I'm also going to focus on the lead, which is kind of the question, and we're also going to take another look at the answer. But today we are going to focus on this deep bass bonk type sound here and how to set it up with Wavetable. So let's create a duplicate version to copy the MIDI. We are going to have to put in a fresh instance of Wavetable here, and I'm setting it to -6 for now, so we hear something. This is the default sine wave coming with Wavetable, and I'm actually activating one thing as a reference here in our original one, just the way this automation here is set up in Wavetable. We're getting to this in a minute. So back to our init sound from Wavetable, we have a sine wave here, and we are playing G2 long note. And now introduce the sub oscillator as well, bring it active and set it to -2 octaves. So you have this foundation below. I'm deactivating oscillator 1 quickly to hear it and make it a bit louder to -1 decibel. Okay, and now we can go back to activating oscillator 1 and bring this one down 2 octaves as well. Here in the semi, bring it down to -24 semitones. Nice. And set it to FM here on the left. Because now we can introduce these frequency modulation type sounds. So if you're playing around with it, you already notice how the character of the sine wave will change. And this is pretty much the whole story to this sound. We are going to introduce a second oscillator as well, activate this one, also bring it down to -24 semitones and also put it to FM mode. Going back to oscillator 1, we want to sort of copy this envelope now by clicking onto this amount here and then going into this area where you can see Wavetable is selected, oscillator 1, effect 2. This is oscillator 1, effect 2. This knob is activated and bringing it up all the way. And then I'm clicking onto this node here, bringing that down all the way. And actually I want to have it at 100% here, right when this node starts. And so we can do something like this. And let's check. We are at 64% around this time. This is important because that's really going to influence how the sound changes over time. And we want this very characteristic. So if we are listening in now, you already get this effect. Coming back from all this stuff here, back to this basic sine wave. So the next one is around 48% around here, and the next one is around 28% around here. And now the next thing we want to do is set up our filter, because we can do something like a plug with this. Something like this, but we want to automate this. So for now, I'm going to set this filter to 24 decibels per octave. I'm bringing it all the way down here in the frequency. Instead of clean, we are going to select PRD and bring the drive up to around 6 decibels. So now we're a bit louder. If we open up the frequency, but let's keep it down here and actually use envelope number 2 to sort of create this movement. So if I'm saying this envelope is supposed to control this knob, let's go to the matrix, click on this knob and go to where we have frequency filter 1 and where we have envelope number 2 and bring this up to around whatever, 77%. And now this knob will follow envelope number 2, an amount of 77%. Okay, so this seems fine for now. And we can maybe lengthen the decay time a little bit to around 1 second or 967 or something. Let's go back to the amplifier, so the output shape, and tweak this one a little bit as well. We've just set our envelope number 2 to around 1 second, so let's take the decay time here to also around 1 second, and I suspect we are going to bring down the sustain a bit further. So amplitude here, and bring this down. Let's maybe keep it at minus 20 decibels here. Okay, release maybe a bit up. Go back to envelope number 2 and also increase the release time here to 1 second. Okay, and now we do want to emphasize a bit more on this effect here. So what happens on our Oscillator 1 effect 2, what happens on this shape here, we want to sort of emphasize a bit more on this. So we can use envelope number 3 and say, hey, let's apply this on that knob too, and even exaggerate this whole effect. So how do we do this? We are going back to matrix, we're selecting amount again, and this is Oscillator 1 FM amount, and I'm going to put this up as well. So maybe to 72 or something. And now what's going to happen is envelope number 3 will control the movement, and I don't want it to stay somewhere in the middle. I actually want to bring it all the way down once it has been applied. So let's listen in. And I want it a bit longer, so bring the decay time up to maybe 1.89 seconds. And now we can go to Oscillator 2. Also play around with this amount here. So what would happen? If we just play it and mess around with it, maybe we are taking this one, this amount, to start at around 50%, and I'm going back to the automation lane here. And let's say we are starting at 50%, and then we want to go a bit lower to, let's say, 20%. Actually turn Oscillator 1 off for a moment. And actually like keep it down there. What was that? 20% here? Okay. So that's another 20%. Okay, now it depends a bit on how fast we want to do this. Do we want to do it a bit slower? And let's mix it in with the other one. So we're going from 50% down to 20%, and this is basically what's happening here. It stays a little bit off a sine wave now. And let's mix in Oscillator 1 as well. Okay, and now we can throw on some effects, because if we go back to this original sound, you can see I also have a reverb here. So let's quickly copy this over and throw it behind this sound here. So we have a decay time of 4, and we have the dry wet up to 21%. The stereo is at 82 and the size is at 62. So this is basically all that's happening here. So if we compare the sound now, this one is a bit quieter, so I'm bringing this down in the gain. Okay, so one thing is missing now, and that is the EQ here behind the whole story. So this one is emphasizing a certain frequency at 516. So let's copy this EQ quickly behind this reverb and listen again. Actually bring down this low cut here a bit further. So what we're doing here, we're adding 9.3 decibels on this frequency, which is quite a lot, but that's the one we want to emphasize on. And there we have it. There's our sound, this little deep synth bonk type sound. And if we go back and listen to it in the whole mix of things, this is what it sounds like. Let me make it a bit louder here. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed this little video. In the upcoming days, we are also going to take a look at this lead sound and at this resonance answer type sound here, how to make them with Wavetable, and maybe one or two other sounds for this remake. So stay tuned for that. I'm also adding these sounds to our Wavetable preset pack, and we'll do a recomposed version of this project file for you to grab. So check the links in the description. Comment below what you want to see next, like and subscribe, and I hope to see you next time.